Hey everyone, my name is Luke Eidenschink. I'm a traditional artist specializing in pen and ink illustration. And in this four-part video series, I'm going to take you step by step through the illustration process as I create this fantasy drawing. I'm going to be using all the materials that you see over my shoulder. So let's go through those materials in a little bit more detail, and then we can get started on the project. All right, so this is everything that I'll be using on this drawing. Quality paper is probably the most important part of any drawing, and I like to use the Strathmore Bristol. This is Bristol 500. They also make a Bristol 300. I use both of them. I especially like the 500 because of this super smooth plate surface. What that means for dip pens especially is that that pointed nib is going to glide on the smooth surface, much less likely to get snagged. And I also like the quality, nice thick paper that's going to hold a crisp ink line. That ink line is not going to feather out or bleed at all, as long as you have a good quality ink, which I have here. A couple different kinds that I like to use. I'll probably be using this Calli. It's a really nice jet black India ink, you can see here, but it really makes a nice crisp black line. I love it. This FW acrylic ink, also good. I especially like the fact that it comes in a big jug because, as you can imagine, I go through a ton of ink. So a lot of my drawings, I use a pencil to lay out a basic plan before I start inking. So I'm going to use a pencil, and the lines eventually do get erased when I'm done with the inking, so I have that eraser. And last but not least, of course, I do have a variety of dip pens that I will be using to apply that ink. So there you have it. Those are the materials I'll be using. Now let's get started. And picking up where we left off, we've got the foreground done, and this video is going to be inking the dragon. So you'll see me starting off here with basically outlining the wings and the rest of the dragon. The head of anything is always kind of a focal point. We tend to look for eyes, and so if what I'm drawing has a head that's turned toward the viewer, I usually will focus on that and get that inked straight away, just because it's a focal point. And I always want to get that face just right. So I want to balance the level of detail that I'm putting into this dragon, because it is further back from us than, say, the wizard foreground. And we do want to see certain details, but I want to try to not depict every single scale, for example. So getting teeth in here, and then the teeth will mostly just be obvious because of the darkened mouth kind of around the teeth. So showing some things in silhouette and then suggesting some things with little bits of detail here and there. Putting a little extra dark around the eyes always is a great way to emphasize the eye. I should point out that while I am trimming this process into clips and then splicing those clips, all of the clips that you're seeing are real time. I didn't speed anything up, so the inking that you are seeing is the actual inking as it happens. I feel that this method is a way of getting around showing you the entire process, which I think for this drawing, when it was all said and done, probably around 8 to 10 hours. It's a way of getting around showing you the entire process while still giving you a good impression of the amount of time required in this type of work. And with inking, patience is very important. It's a very meditative art form once you get into it. But it does take a little bit of practice. And like other art mediums, a lot of times there's a point at which it doesn't look great. It's something that I've recognized over the years, that there's always a point in the drawing. In the beginning, you're excited about it. It looks great. It's coming along fantastic. And then somewhere right before you get to a midpoint, you look at it and you think, this is not going to look good. This is not the way I envisioned it. You have to sort of push through that stage. And when you do, you come out the other side and it starts to look great again. So just part of the process. Where I was going with that is you sort of have to develop the patience required to get through that point, get to the other side of that where you get excited about it again. And there you saw me putting in sort of those short curved lines, suggesting the presence of scales without actually meticulously trying to create every single scale. And we're moving on to the wings. This dragon, as I said, is mostly wings, so that's a big part of what you're going to see here. I'm starting off with just the single direction lines, kind of nice flowing lines, giving them some additional thickness. And I am going to end up cross-hatching these wings to add some texture. But this first layer of lines definitely is the thick lines, and then the second will be a thin layer just to give some tone. And I'm making it just a little bit darker around the dragon's head, just to kind of set that head off so it doesn't get lost in all the lines behind it. Trying to give those wings a sense of sort of billowing out with these curved lines. And here we go with the second layer of the crosshatch. And you can see that those lines are much thinner. And the function of those lines is just to darken the tone. Just wanted to create a little bit darker tone, kind of set him apart from the background tone that I know is going to go in next. I don't want him to get lost in that background. So darkening the wings is a way to ensure that the dragon will stand out. And going back into the head for some more details. The way that I draw, I suspect, is similar to the way that a lot of artists draw, in that I don't always work perfectly in on one section and then finish that section and move on to the next. I have a much more organic approach where I sort of am always circling around the drawing, doing this part, doing a little bit here, a little bit there, and coming back around and sort of pulling back, looking at the whole, and then going in, adjusting little bits of it. It's not necessarily a step 1 through 10 sort of thing. It's I do tend to try to finish certain elements, or at least progress certain elements to a certain point, but there's always that process of circling back around and refining what I've done. And at some point, you just have to accept that it's finished. Otherwise, you could do that forever. And here we go. At this point, you could actually consider this a finished drawing, but we're going to go and put a background in the next video. So that's it for part 3. Our subjects, the wizard and the dragon, are now complete in the foreground. In the next video, we're going to move back into the background, the moons, the trees, the sky, and kind of tie it all together and give it more depth. So can't wait to see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.